we're going to start off today's show. That was breaking. That was like right off the top, breaking. So we're going to start off really today's second story. So it's about a movie by the way, guys, as I said, these are all going to be blockbuster stories, okay, throughout the whole show. So, but nonetheless, so we're going to start off with a story that we've got a movie, another blockbuster coming out today, this weekend, and I actually got to see it last night. It was a fan event, and I'm talking about Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. And I'm an '80s kid, and I grew up with all these Transformers and Bumblebee and Optimus Prime and Mirage and all these guys. And I gotta say, so I didn't have too high expectations. And by the way, guys, I'm gonna be doing a whole spoiler cast on this this Saturday. So I'm not gonna give all my thoughts about it, but I'm gonna give a few thoughts about it. That being said, I grew up with these, and ever since you had, the first one came out in 2007 and did huge numbers, and because nobody had ever seen anything like that. So this movie, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because of a lot of different things. So the story comes from The Wrap, and this comes from Jeremy, who we had on the show about 2 weeks ago. And by the way, guys, great interview with him. If you haven't already, go check that out, either on YouTube or podcast form. So he says, the number one position at this weekend's box office is up for grabs. While Paramount's Transformers: Rise of the Beasts is stopping into theaters, hoping to reclaim some of this franchise's former box office glory, the top spot could be swiped by Sony's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is showing excellent midweek returns and could have long legs at the box office. This is the first time in 6 years that a Transformers movie has graced the summer slate. Once upon a time, Michael Bay's Transformers was the top franchise at the box office, sporting a lifetime total earnings of $4.8 billion worldwide and a pair of billion-dollar hits with Dark Side of the Moon in 2011 and Age of Extinction in 2014. But in 2017, the series' fifth installment, Transformers: The Last Knight, opened on a Wednesday to a series low $44.6 million over 3 days and $68 million over 5 days, going on to gross $602.8 million worldwide. While it's still a slight theatrical profit against its reported $217 million budget, The Last Knight plummeted more than 45% from the $1.1 billion that was The Age of Extinction 3 years prior. The following year, with Bay departing the franchise, Paramount released a holiday spin-off, Bumblebee, that was the first Transformers film to get a widespread praise from critics. But that wasn't enough to bring moviegoers back to its heyday levels. And while Bumblebee turned a profit thanks to a tighter $102 million budget, it made less than The Last Knight, with $465 million worldwide. Which brings us to Rise of the Beasts, which sees Creed 3 filmmaker Stephen Caple take over the director's chair in a film that introduces the Maximals, led by the Ron Perlman voiced Optimus Primal, in a film that is set more than a decade before the first Transformers movie released in 2007. Tracking currently has Rise of the Beasts opening just slightly better than the Friday to Sunday total of The Last Knight, in the low $50 million range. The challenge for Transformers 6 will be the disappointing fate of Paramount's recent release Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, which got great critical and audience reception but got squeezed out by the juggernaut that was the Super Mario movie. In a similar way, Rise of the Beasts is releasing between Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Warner Bros. The Flash, which will have a story coming up a little later on. Two of the films that are already courting the 18 to 35 male demographic. This past weekend, Across the Spider-Verse earned a Sony Animation record $120.6 million opening weekend and added $28 million to its domestic total on Monday and Tuesday to outperform the first 5 days of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 by 7%. That's huge. Opening weekend data from PostTrack showed that Spider-Verse was 63% male and 61% was 18 to 35. Current tracking has Spider-Verse earning a second weekend in the same low $15 million range as Transformers 6. While it won't have the same help of the premium screens in its second weekend, it won't be surprising to see Spider-Verse top that range and keep lagging out among general audiences and family, giving it strong word of mouth. This could especially be a problem for Rise of the Beast, given that the most global successful Hollywood franchises have seen their box office fortunes in China decrease due to a recent decline in interest in Western fare from that country's moviegoers. The Last Night earned $228 million in China in 2017, and that market went a long way to keeping that film out of the red. Sources tell that Rise of the Beast is earning solid pre-sale numbers in China for a Hollywood film in 2023, but is unlikely to match the Last Night in that market, meaning that it must find a better foothold in the United States and other international markets in order to turn a profit against its reported $200 million budget and against tough tentpole competition. Okay, let's talk about this because this is big. So I'm probably one of the many few that loved all the movies. Definitely. Okay. So yeah, I mean, so the films aren't. As I said, I'm an '80s guy. Okay, and I grew up watching. I grew up watching the films. I grew up watching the cartoons and everything else. And so I have not seen The Last Night, but I have seen Age of Extinction and Dark Side of the Moon. And so I went last night, and as I said, I'm not going to do my full spoiler review here, but I'll just say this: I was disappointed. I was very, very, and mind you, this is one of those movies that you have to go into and turn your brain off for, right? I totally understand that, but I was really disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I was really disappointed, and I just, the jokes weren't funny. I put out a tweet the other day. As a matter of fact, after I left the show, I put out a tweet. I said, I wouldn't be shocked to see this on one of the top 10 worst of 2023. Now, mind you, this is my opinion. Okay. I don't want to try and, sway you one way or the other, Metal. So this is why I would say film is subjective, because there are films that you may like that I may not, and vice versa. So I want you to have a fantastic experience. Personally speaking, I thought it wasn't funny. Okay. It really didn't have any stakes to it. And I didn't enjoy it. And then the ending for me and what they were trying to set up didn't make any sense at all. At all. And I had heard a rumor, okay, this is what they're going to try and do. And it was there. First of all, it would have been better as a cutscene. But before that, there were some storylines there that just did not make any sense. And it didn't pay off at all. There was no payoff. That being said, I wouldn't be shocked or surprised, frankly, if we're talking about Across the Spider-Verse winning the second weekend or getting very close to it. I mean, Transformers may win the weekend, but it's going to be very close, neck and neck. Don't be shocked. And, as Jeremy said in his piece, if you can drop 45 to 50%, that's fantastic. If this can make between $50 to $60 million in its second weekend, and it was up 7%, that's the other key too. Okay, I mean, and I said this the other day. It's all about the midweek. It's all about that Monday through Thursday. Because here's the thing. People go to the theater every single day of the week. If you're making money, a good amount of money during the week, you're definitely going to make money during the weekend. And that's what I think this is going to do. And I won't be shocked if Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse wins the second weekend, because I didn't care for this film at all. And I understand that, look, so this is the same guy that directed Creed 2. So anybody who's seen Creed and seen those films, he did the second one, and that one didn't have a Stallone. And actually, I stand corrected, it did have Stallone. But the point is, it just didn't have the same feel. Okay? I didn't care for it. I just didn't care for it. And, it is what it is. And so what I will do, guys, is on Saturday, I will tweet this out, of course, and, stay tuned for my full spoiler cast about the film, everything about the film. And, I will give my thoughts about that, because I think that it definitely needs to be mentioned. So, anyways, guys, what do you think about Rise of the Beast actually maybe not winning this weekend? Do you think Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse could win the weekend? If so, how much do you think it might win it by? Are you guys going to go see Rise of the Beast? If so, are you going to go see it in IMAX, 2D, Screen X? What format are you guys going to go see it in? Leave me your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll get back to everybody.